The analysis of our current security challenges standing. Fulani herdsmen violent attacks started 2 decades ago. As for today, herdsmen have attacked 19 of the 23 local governments, claiming over 5,000 lives between 2013 to 2018. Over 195,000 homes, 30 churches, property worth billions destroyed by herdsmen attack. That is the map. As you can see, just 4 local governments that are lucky that were not attacked: Otupo, Ponshisha, Oshongo, and Balika. Government respond to the attack. Federal government failed to curb the crisis at the beginning despite the reported aims. Within this, you permit me to just give you some headlines. Right from when this thing started, publications from the media, people took responsibility, and these were Fulani men. In this reportage, while we killed 86 persons in Plateau State, Mayor Tiala breaks silence. The killings in Plateau State by Fulani nationality movement will remain solid and unshaken by the winds. These are coming from human beings, not just ghost people. Another one, why we killed 86 persons in Plateau State. Same Mayor Tiala will justify this. Another publication, Fulani herdsmen crisis, struggle for natural resources. So it wasn't about grazing, as we say. But this particular one, I want to just read the whole statement by Fulani nationality movement, after intensive deliberation on the state of the nation in the context of the recent killings and national uproar made today in Kano, the capital of Kano State. Among others things, the FUNAB deliberated on attacks on cattle by rustlers, kidnap of Fulani men and women in some parts of Nigeria, displaced of Fulani traditional settlement in northern Nigeria and some parts of southern Nigeria, stealing of property belonging to Fulani cattle herders, and so on. The group also deliberated on the situation in Nigeria by the irresponsible calls for restructuring of Nigeria, the historic and vicious attack on Fulani herdsmen by southern nationalities and their cohorts in the Middle Belt, the plot to ensure that Fulani are pushed to the background in the power equation of Nigeria, the vicious campaign against the God-ordained place of Fulani as the leading star guide in Nigeria, and after extensive deliberation, we hereby make the following declarations. First, the killings in Benue of the thief is well deserved. It was a revenge attack on a series of onslaughts on the Fulani, which was most horrendous on November 17, 2017, when 30 Fulani men and women were killed in Nasarawa State. We noticed the recalcitrant culture of the thief people as demonstrated even in the 1804 jihad, when they obstructed our ordained conquest of Nigeria. We condemn the media propaganda being waged against the Fulani and supported by Yoruba, Igbo, and their bigotry allies in the Middle Belt. That we are aware of plots by minority ethnic groups in the Middle Belt and attacked by Fulani settlements. That we have asked all Fulanis across West Africa to raise money and arms to prosecute the ongoing war. We call on all Fulanis to prepare for this holy war. There is no going back. All over the world, Nigeria is the only country given to Fulani by God. We oppose the anti-vote grazing law which obstruct the ability of Fulani men to move freely and stay anywhere in Nigeria. The Fulani, if not for the British, would have actually conquered the entire Nigeria which God has ordained as our dominion. That the cattle colony is the only solution to the crisis, whether the federal government or state government accept it or not. We have Fulani herdsmen all over West Africa. We ask Fulani herdsmen all over West Africa to move to Nigeria and penetrate every corner for the upcoming jihad. We have asked them to be armed, since it is the only language that Nigerian understands. The Nigerian government has failed to protect us. Those who oppose Fulani cattle trade to be cautious of the consequences. We are ready for the worst. We are prepared for war. There is one hope for peace, if only attacks on Fulani herdsmen stop and the Fulani is allowed to settle anywhere that the Fulani choose to settle in Nigeria. We are Nigerians and are free to settle anywhere we desire. Our culture, our families, our commerce and our values to the glory of Almighty Allah. Any attempt to reverse these demands will be met with holy uprising never seen in the history of Nigeria and in the scale compared only with the 1804 jihad. A word is enough for the wise. The Fulani is capable of defending itself. Signed by Badu Salisu Amadu, National President, and Secretary Umar Ami Shehu. So you can imagine why we'd say that the federal government failed to solve the crisis at the beginning despite early warnings. Because I personally wrote to the presidency and intimated them, attaching copies of this press conference and my discussion with Mayor Tiala and what they stood for. It wasn't anything to do with grazing, or was to continue the invasion of the remaining part of Nigeria as was done in 1804. After 200 years, they decided to regroup and to come and take over. So all that they were saying was not anything but a plan to completely take over the country. The federal government has not shown genuine efforts in reforming livestock business as exemplified by the Benue State Open Grazing Prohibition and Ranching Law of 2017. All that we hear them say, I'm a member of National Economic Council. And we deliberated on this matter after the killings. And it was resolved that a committee be set up. That was done and came back to council. And we agreed that there must be a program. The committee headed by the governor Ebonyi went around, came to Benue State and other states that were affected. And we eventually drew out a plan, our National Livestock Transformation Program. And we categorically say that the only solution to this problem should be ranching. And federal government took this matter and decided to frustrate it. They never wanted implementation, and until they instructed Federal Ministry of Agriculture to initiate a process of cattle colony, which was resisted by Nigerians. And thereafter, the issue of Ruga came in, which has been resisted, and another one is on the way coming. And I believe that by the grace of God, these two will be resisted by Nigerians. Today, there is a proposal that the maritime law of Nigeria should be amended. And 3 kilometers both sides of the river should be annexed and given to the federal government, so that they will have control. For us in Benue State, it means government house will be under the control of the federal government. So cattle will be allowed to move freely and do their evil. Those of you who have visited home recently, especially in Abuja, the headquarters of Nigeria, that is where cattle are doing open grazing, openly. They obstruct traffic, and it will amaze you that even at the airport,
Yes.
you have cattle moving freely as they want. On the runway they move. They are all over the place, eating flowers and all those things, obstructing people from entering their offices. It's a normal thing that is happening. So government has not shown any kind of commitment at that level. Otherwise, what we did was a painstaking research that we conducted, and we discovered that ranching remains the global best practice for animal husbandry. And this went through the process and it was passed, and that is what is being obtained. And I think that the federal government will need to be sincere to address this matter. I believe that they have the capacity if they want. Today, with the atrocities that they committed by herdsmen in Nigeria, compared to IPOD, and then compared to the recent Shad movement in Nigeria, why have these two groups been proscribed? Why have they not been branded terrorists? Looking at the magnitude of the destruction and the pains and the killings that have been inflicted on Nigerians. Today, all parts of Nigeria are wallowing in pain for attacks of Fulani men. Even yesterday, I heard, or rather today when I was reading on social media, it was reported that the Reverend Father was killed by herdsmen. Why should you live in a country in the 21st century that government is not ready to take steps that can address the challenges that we have? The recent comment by Mr. President in Dubai that I am responsible for not accepting open grazing, and that is why there are crises in Nigeria. It is true, he said it. Several times he cautioned me and told me that until we go back to 1950. But I told him we're in 2017 and 2018. So why should we be talking about 2050? Because in 1950, when cattle routes were designated and created and grazing areas were carved, what was the total population of Nigeria? Less than 40 million people living in Nigeria. Today, by approximation, we have more than 200 million people with a landmass of still 923,000 square kilometers, but even less because of good desert encroachment, ceding of Bakassi to the Cameroons. And so, those cattle routes and grazing areas that were designated are now occupied by human activities. So we must try to look at what other countries are doing. This has been my explanation and justification for presenting an executive bill to the Assembly for the restriction of cattle movement in Benue State. Because those cattle routes they are talking about, they are no longer there. Those grazing areas they are talking about, they are no longer there. And in Benue State, even in 1950s, when these cattle routes were created, none was gazetted in Benue State. So you cannot hold us responsible. If others were gazetted in the north and other states, people are free to go and do their open grazing in those areas. But my argument has always been that we must be proactive. As we are growing and the population is also growing, we must look at the alternatives that can bring peace for farmers and herdsmen. For us in Benue State, as it is today, there are communal issues that we're trying to manage. The people are fighting themselves, as we heard earlier. We have struggled, we have suspended chiefs, we have done several things to ensure that we have peace, because the land is no longer there. And so, if you go to the analysis, as you can see, World Cattle Inventory ranking of countries by USDA, as you can see, India with over 300 million heads of cattle, Brazil 226, China over 100, in America here over 93 million, European Union 89, and so on, as you can see. But what is the total cattle in Nigeria that are creating this kind of challenges that we're having today? 20 million, as at the last count. But they are not allowed. So how can you marry what is happening in India with over 300 million cattle? But yet, you hardly see cattle roaming about. I was in Swaziland some few years ago, a very tiny country in the southern Africa. And there too I was told that their major export earning is beef and milk. But yet they ranch. And I saw those ranches myself. Small stakeholders, farmers, were able to provide ranch at their backyard and provided feeds. And my argument has been that there are multiple advantages in adopting ranching for both farmers and herdsmen. One, herdsmen will no longer live with reptiles in the forest. They will stay at home, their children will go to school. For the farmers, their waste can be good feeds. For the herdsmen, they treat people eat a lot of meat. And so during festivities, they go to get these feeds. But you can also pay a token to collect rice, straw, soybean straw, and other agricultural waste to feed your cattle. And so it is the same trade by barter. You do me, I do you. That one God will not vex. So they say it. So, and these people have an agenda. As I read, you can see that it is clear. If it were about cattle business, they would have accepted ranching because it's the best approach. In fact, in Nigeria, I'm told that Americans cannot eat our beef back home because it's more of fiber than meat. Because the way they trade from Sokoto to Lagos and Port Harcourt. And no milk that is nutritious gets into your system. You're drinking their milk, it is nothing. It has no nutrients there to support the body. And the meat, there is nothing. So, this is the challenge we have. The federal government, as I said, have refused to adopt an approach that will solve this problem. And that makes me to believe that maybe they also have an agenda. And I believe that Mr. President is not aware of these things that are happening. And I'm very happy with the recent appointment of ministers. Those people that created problems for us, especially in Benue State, they were excluded. Like the former Minister of Interior, the former Minister of Defense, the former Minister, the Inspector General of Police. These were people who were not interested in finding a solution to this problem. All their comments were to paint Benue in bad light. But I appreciate Mr. President because such advisors cannot effect development for a country, Nigeria. For we strongly oppose the grazing reserves, grazing routes, cattle colony, and rural settlements. It is not accepted in Benue because we don't have the land. And the proposed amendments of the maritime law will not be accepted in Benue State. Because we have two rivers in Benue State, River Benue and River Kasla. If you allow that law, and I'm happy that our legislators are here at the national level representing us, it is a challenge, and I believe that we will take up this and ensure that we preserve the land on our behalf. In my own local government, if you take 3 kilometers from both sides of the river, then the entire local government will be under federal government. And then I have no control whatsoever. And the land use act gives the responsibility to the state. And so on this we stand, and I believe that for Benue, I am working closely with my legislature at the state level and at the federal level, but we're working together, and we have all discussed this, and this will not be allowed, at least in Benue State. If other states will allow it, for us in Benue State, we are not going to allow it. No. The challenges are many, but our determination is enormous. They are convinced and determined to explore every available opportunity within the law to provide security for life and property, advance development and progress of Benue State. From all indication and from what you have heard, from what you have seen, this is the Nigeria that the Fulanis want in our country. And that is why we are resisting them. We cannot be slaves to Fulanis in Nigeria. We have allowed them the right to live. They are free to live in Benue State, but we are insisting that any Fulani man who wants to live in Benue State and do cattle business must ranch. If you don't ranch, you can look for an alternative place. If you want to live in Benue State and do any other type of business, you're free to do so. No one will harass you. And under my leadership, I'm ready to give protection to all. Nobody will be exempted. And in fact, our law prohibiting open grazing is being enforced and implemented. As I talk to you, we have succeeded in convicting 81 people who violated our law. And this includes indigenous, thieves and idolers who violated the law. The majority of them are Fulanis. And anywhere we see cattle doing open grazing, we apprehend such cattle. And when they run away, the herders run away, we arrest the cattle. Yes. The provisions of the law is that we arrest the cattle, so we have been arresting them. The provision is that you quarantine them for 7 days. And if the owner does not come to collect, you auction them. And so far, the close to 3,000 cattle were arrested through our livestock guard and quarantine. They came, and some of them we arrested them and we prosecuted them. But they paid fines, and so we allowed them to transport them by vehicle out of Benue State. So our law is being implemented 100%. And so these are the destruction that we had during those are some of the destructions. Like I said, the destruction was enormous. What you saw there was a farmer's warehouse, of course, farmer's store. Here is one of the clinics that was destroyed. Here is a church that was destroyed, and several primary schools and secondary schools were also part of it. These people, they have an agenda, as I said, because destroying schools, destroying health facilities, destroying homes, and even killing with gun and still butchering those people was a clear indication to put fear into us so that we will not attempt to challenge them. But for us in Benue State, we are determined more than ever. If our forefathers in 1804 resisted them, why can't we do it at this time?